People think change happens when you try hard enough, when you get motivated enough, when life hits you hard enough, when the timing is perfect, when you finally feel ready. And honestly, I understand why we think that. Because trying is what we can see. Trying looks like effort. Trying looks like struggle. Trying looks like doing something. But lasting change doesn't come from trying. It comes from becoming. You don't improve your life by forcing new habits onto your old identity. You improve your life by shifting the identity itself, the person you believe you are, the person you trust yourself to be, the person you default to when no one is watching. Today, I'm going to show you why identity is the quiet engine behind every choice you make, how identity actually gets formed in your brain, and how to start choosing as the person you want to become before you feel like that person exists. Because that's the move most people never learn. They wait until they feel different and they stay the same. We aren't doing that. We are building the new version of you on purpose. But first we have to talk about a myth. I will change when I feel ready. This myth is comforting because it lets you delay. It makes you feel like you're not stuck. You're just not ready yet. But readiness is not what changes people. Evidence changes people. If you wait until you feel like a disciplined person to act disciplined, you will be waiting forever. If you wait until you feel confident to set a boundary, you will keep getting drained. If you wait until you feel like a healthy person to take care of your body, you will keep postponing your own well-being. Readiness is often just fear wearing a nice outfit. It's your old identity trying to stay in charge by telling you, not yet. And the truth is, you don't become ready first. You become ready by doing the thing. And here's the sneaky part. Ready is usually your brain asking for emotional certainty before it risks discomfort. But certainty doesn't come first. It comes after evidence. You don't feel ready and then act. You act, collect proof, and then your brain finally relaxes into, okay, maybe we can do this. This is why people stay stuck in planning mode. Planning gives you the feeling of progress without the vulnerability of change. Your old identity loves that deal. It gets to feel productive while staying safe. The shift happens when you stop negotiating with the feeling and start building the proof. And here is what most people miss when they are trying to change their behavior. Your identity is your internal story, the story you tell yourself about who you are, what you are capable of, what you deserve, and what kind of choices you make. And whether you like it or not, your actions tend to match that story. If you see yourself as inconsistent, you will act inconsistently. If you see yourself as a people pleaser, you'll keep abandoning yourself to keep other people comfortable. If you see yourself as bad with money, you will overspend and then call it proof. If you see yourself as chaotic, you will choose chaos and then act surprised when peace feels foreign. This creates a loop. Identity drives behavior, behavior shapes life, and life reinforces identity. And that's why people feel stuck. They are not just fighting a habit, they are fighting a cycle. Identity drives behavior, behavior shapes your life, and your life reinforces how you see yourself. And the only way to break that cycle is to update the identity with new evidence. Here are some truths that will help you break the cycle. Truth number 1, your identity is history, not destiny. Most people think their identity is a reflection of who they are, but it is usually a reflection of what they've practiced, what they've tolerated, what they've survived, what they've believed when they didn't know better, the habits they repeated, the environments they lived in, the choices they made when they were operating from fear, pain, or pure autopilot. That means your identity isn't destiny, it's your history. It is a record of what your brain learned to expect from you, and you are allowed to outgrow it. If your identity was built in survival mode, of course it's not optimized for peace. If your identity was shaped around coping, of course it defaults to relief. You are not defective. You are patterned. And patterns can be changed when you start choosing differently on purpose. Truth number 2, identity follows evidence, not affirmations. Here is one of the most liberating psychological truths you can learn. Your brain learns who you are based on what you do repeatedly, not what you say, not what you hope, not what you promise, what you do. This is why affirmations can feel weird when they are not backed by behavior. Your brain doesn't accept new beliefs because you said them. It accepts them because you proved them. That's self-efficacy, the internal belief that you can rely on yourself, and it is built through follow-through. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your brain logs it as evidence. Every time you set a boundary and survive the discomfort, your brain logs it as evidence. Every time you choose peace over impulse, your brain logs it as evidence. And slowly, quietly, your identity updates. Oh, this is who we are now. A simple way to understand this is your brain believes behavior more than it believes words. If you keep telling yourself, I'm disciplined, but your actions keep saying, I avoid, your brain trusts the actions. That's not pessimism. That's pattern recognition. This is also where self-doubt comes from. It is not always trauma or low self-esteem. Sometimes it's just a data problem. Your brain has receipts that you haven't been consistent, so it hesitates to trust you. The fastest way to rebuild confidence is not hype. It is small follow-through that creates new evidence. Truth number 3, you must choose as the person you want to become. This is the heart of identity shift. You do not wait to feel like the new version of you. You make choices as that version first. You can't take on a new identity without taking it out for a spin. If you want to be responsible, start choosing like a responsible person in tiny ways. Handle the email. Put gas in the car before it's on fumes. Pay the bill when it's due instead of after the late fees teach you a lesson. If you want to be confident, start choosing like someone who respects themselves. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop negotiating with disrespect. Stop handing out access to anyone who demands it. If you want to be stable, start choosing like someone who values peace. Reduce the chaos you invite. Remove the shiny objects you keep accidentally tripping over. Take care of your environment. Create routines that make life easier. You choose first. The identity grows from the choices. That's not faking it, that's building it. Truth number 4, consistency beats intensity every time. People try to change their identity with intensity. They'll have one amazing day, then crash. They'll do a dramatic reset, then disappear. They'll make huge promises, then ghost themselves. And then they use the crash as proof that they can't change. But identity isn't built by big moments. It is built by repetition. Neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire, responds to what you practice consistently, not what you do once in a burst of inspiration. One small aligned choice a day is a stronger identity builder than one perfect week followed by 3 weeks of avoidance. Consistency doesn't look impressive. It looks boring. And boring is powerful because boring is repeatable. Repeatable becomes reliable, and reliable becomes identity. Truth number 5, you feel your alignment in your body. You don't need perfection. You need alignment. Alignment means your choices match your values, your standards, your peace, your future, and your self-respect. When you make aligned decisions, your body usually feels clearer. It might feel uncomfortable, but it feels clean, like you can breathe, like you didn't betray yourself. When you make misaligned decisions, your body also tells you. It feels like tension, dread, that I shouldn't be doing this feeling, the quiet shame that shows up before the consequences do. Most people ignore that feedback because they're chasing relief, validation, or comfort. Your body is not always dramatic, but it is often honest. Use that honesty. It's part of becoming someone who chooses well. A lot of people ignore that clean discomfort feeling because it doesn't feel fun. Setting a boundary can feel uncomfortable and still be aligned. Walking away can feel sad and still be aligned. Choosing the long game can feel boring and still be aligned. Misalignment tends to feel different. It feels like you have to talk yourself into it. You feel a low-grade dread or a tightness or that internal voice saying, "You're going to regret this." And you do it anyway because the emotion is loud. Part of becoming someone who chooses well is learning to trust the clean feeling over the exciting feeling. So what does the identity shift look like in real life? Someone texts you with drama, and the old identity wants to jump in, explain, fix, or solve. The new identity pauses, breathes, thinks, decides, and either responds calmly or doesn't respond at all, not to punish, but to protect. You walk into a store when you're stressed, and the old identity wants a quick hit. The new identity runs the math. Am I buying this because it improves my life or because I'm trying to improve my mood? That one question can save you hundreds of dollars and a lot of regret. You get invited to something that would drain you, and the old identity says yes because guilt is loud. The new identity says no thank you and lets the discomfort pass without turning it into negotiation. That's what self-respect looks like in motion. You're tempted to go back to someone familiar, and the old identity romanticizes the highlight reel. The new identity remembers the whole movie. It chooses compatibility over craving. It chooses peace over intensity. It chooses future you over momentary relief. And here is a practical way to build a new identity, something I call an identity-proof stack. It is how you give your brain evidence of who you are now. Pick one identity you want to embody. I am a person who follows through, or I am a person who protects my peace, or I am a person who chooses long-term stability. Then choose one small daily action that proves it. Make it so small that you can't argue with it. 5 minutes of cleanup, one responsible email, one boundary placed, $10 saved, one short walk, one pause before a reply. The size doesn't matter. The repetition does. Your brain is collecting data. Give it data, not speeches, not promises, data. After a week, you will feel a shift. After a month, you will trust yourself more. And once trust grows, choosing well becomes less effort and more identity. And don't underestimate how small this can be. Your proof stack is not a performance. It is a practice. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to become believable to yourself. If you pick actions that are too big, you'll miss days, and then your old identity will use that as proof that nothing changes. So make it almost annoyingly doable. So doable that the only way you don't do it is if you choose not to. And that's where the identity shift begins, because now you're seeing the truth clearly. This is the final truth of shifting your identity. You don't need to announce the shift. Just live it. Identity shifts don't require speeches, announcements, explanations, or a dramatic rebrand. You don't need to tell people you've changed. They'll see it through your boundaries, your silence, your stability, your standards, and your choices. Some people will adjust, some people will resist, some will fall away, and some will rise with you. And that's normal. People who benefited from your old identity may not like your new one. Let them have their feelings. Your job is not to stay small so other people can stay comfortable. Who you were was a survival version. Who you are becoming is the intentional version. You are not betraying who you were. You are honoring yourself by evolving beyond it. And what I want you to remember is this. Lasting change isn't about trying harder. It's about becoming someone who chooses well, consistently, quietly, and on purpose. Your identity is not your destiny. It is your history. And history can be rewritten through new choices. I have linked a companion PDF below to help you identify the old identity loop that you've been living in. Choose the identity you're stepping into next and build your own identity proof stack with small daily actions that create real internal change. We are not waiting to feel ready. We are choosing like the future version of us by intent. I will see you in the next one.